wonder why Kanye. All right, that's the album. Let me know in the chat if y'all want me to replay it or whatever, or listen to another song, whatever. Just let me know. But that's interesting. I'm wondering why he had that as the intro, the outro. The album's called Donda. I really enjoyed like whatever speech that he took words from his mom. Like I kind of went into this album thinking it was gonna be this, right? Donda to me, at its best, could be um two songs mashed up, which is let me play. These two Kanye songs. It's Donda, if it's perfect for me, would be Jesus Walks meets Hey Mama. You get what I mean? So like at the end, I don't know, like no disrespect to the family of Larry Hoover, but what that got to do with your mother? Like, you know what I mean? I thought, man, I was over here about to get teary eyed. I'm hearing his mom speak. I'm like, damn, you imagine losing your mom. Imagine how that affected him. All of a sudden, I'm hearing Larry Hoover. I'm like, what the hell going on with this business? Anyway, I actually like the album. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not judging this on a complete rap scale. First of all, I think this is a gospel album, right? It's still gonna be technically gospel. All the words are muted. I don't even think there's a explicit version that's gonna be released. I could be wrong, but Kanye did say he's not doing secular music anymore. It would assume, or it could be assumed, that this album will be a gospel album, right? Which, truth be told, I think it's a very personal album for him. I think he put a lot of time into it. He is scatterbrained, but I think he tried to put his best foot forward. And I can't judge it like I would judge other people's albums. Like, hey, how many hit songs? How many this? How many that? Like, I think it was good. I don't think it was phenomenal. I think it was good. There's certain songs I really like, certain songs I could do without. I do think Kanye used the people to A&R the project, right? Or executive producer project, whatever you want to call it. And the verses that y'all heard at one release or listening session that you didn't hear at the other one, he put back on the joint. So, and that's why there's so many part ones and part twos. So I give him credit for that. I don't think it's a trash album. I think it's a very personal album. And I respect that. And I like that. At this point, like, think about it, right? And not to use almost like his arch nemesis Drake, but like, we love personal stuff from Drake, but like Drake has told us everything. You know what I mean? The only thing he ain't tell us was the kid shit. But after, like, you get to a point that it's only so much you can let people in. After that, he's just rapping about his cars and rapping about his ops that we don't know who they are. You get me? So again, the mere fact that we always knew, I think we always wanted an album like this from Kanye, or at least wanted him to touch on the subject matter. And I think he always wanted to. It felt like this was a mission for him. I think we know that his mom passing away altered the trajectory of his life, altered his actions, altered his state of mind. And it's hard for me to listen to a project that seems like a tribute project and be like, trash, you know what I mean? Or like, this is as close and as personal it could get. I remember who did a tribute, project not too long ago. And it's hard to judge somebody's tribute project because they're dedicating it to someone who's not here, and they're trying to use their memories, their own thoughts, their own feelings. They're also probably thinking about what that person would have liked, And I do think, his mom would have wanted him to go in the gospel route a little bit, So him being full forced into that and him producing an album like that, it's hard for me to just come out and say anything other than either I got it or I didn't. And if I got it, that means I probably did like it to some extent. So I think it's good. You know what I mean? I don't even think this album, you can't even compare it to whatever Drake's gonna put out. Drake's gonna put out a bunch of hits. You know what I mean? Like, you can't compare it. So I respect Kanye for putting this out. And also I respect him for even putting it out even now. Like, drop it right now. Like, this is not even a competition type album. Like, you can't, like, this is a tribute album to me. You can't compete. You feel me? I do want to say the features on the projects. I feel like Kanye, and this is why Kanye is great. That's why, he gets more of a pass when it comes to like things or knocks against, usual other artists when it comes to writing and stuff like that. Kanye is the producer. Like, we look at him still like the producer. Now, Remember on a couple songs, he got into some flows and pockets. We all know Kanye could rap, and like he's somebody who could flow and he got bars when he wants to. But when it comes to like the features, like I give Kanye credit for the features killing it. I heard some people say, yo, the features carried the joint. Well, you could say the features carried it, but them niggas can't carry their own projects. I'm like, no disrespect to some of the niggas we talking about on the album, but Kanye, like some of these niggas, like Kanye got 2 washed up niggas on there I thought was washed. Them niggas, they sound better than they ever sounded. He got even 5 Foreign on that shit, sounded amazing. This is the first time I heard 5 Foreign rap coherently without acting like he was reading a haiku, and he ain't say bow one time. This is amazing. Kanye needs the credit. I'm sorry. We got to give Kanye some credit for that, okay? So I'm giving Kanye credit for bringing the best out of people. So I don't want y'all, like, think about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. To me, it's on my short list. If you're going to ask me on top 10 albums of all time, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is up there. It's up there not only because of bars, and most people judge hip-hop off bars. It's up there just because of music. You know what I mean? And when you create an album like that, right? And y'all love the album, right? If you create an album like that, it's not only about him rapping 90% of the time. It's about the music production. It's about the vibe, the aura. And to be honest, like these Donda listening parties help kind of create that scene too. But like, remember around that time when My Beautiful Dark Twisted, it was about the orchestra. It was about the choir, the fucking harp, the person with the violin. Like all of these things made what Kanye was doing more than just rap music, right? For most people, we're like, yo, where's the hot beat you're gonna rap on, and what's the catchy hook? With Kanye, like it's kind of different in what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like most of these songs, he's letting the instrumental cook for a minute. Like this seems like a musical piece. Now, if we had to put it to a genre, I'm saying gospel, but Kanye puts together these musical body of works where I don't look at him just like a rapper. I look at him like almost like a conductor, and he's having all these pieces and he's figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like like to compare it, I would say like a Quincy Jones-esque type, compilation. So whether you heard Kanye, some of y'all were like, oh, he got carried by a feature. Man, Kanye made this shit happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, all these niggas sound better than they ever sound by themselves. So I'm going to give Kanye the credit. Somebody said Beethoven. Yeah, to some extent, yeah. I'm going to give Kanye that for what he's doing. Another thing, what Kanye's doing, no other artist is doing. You know what I mean? Again, he's taking risks that, like, as much as we fans don't want to admit it, we like when the artist don't take no risk. Like the moment the artist takes a risk, and if he misses, shit, he missed with Yeezus, and I called it trash, right? And I was like, get out of here with that. But he probably needed to make Yeezus to what was the project after that? Yeezus was 2013, right? Am I tripping? Was it The Life of Pablo? It was The Life of Pablo, right? It was The Life of Pablo, correct? He probably needed to make that. Just like he needed to make 808s and Heartbreaks to make some of his later work. So, I'll give credit to somebody like Kanye for doing that. I know the conversation, especially leading up to this week, which, by the way, we could get into slightly. If I'm skeptical if Drake is dropping. I'm skeptical. And I've asked him directly. And, like, he just liked my post. I was like, you dropping, bro? He just double tapped. He didn't even say yes or no. But anyway, the reason why is, and I'm not gonna look into that even dynamic because he usually answers my question. But still, it didn't feel like Drake was really announcing some shit. Like, we don't have an album cover. It was just one random shit on ESPN. Like, it just seemed kind of weird. Like, he's not even acknowledging the album dropping, like, at all. Like, the nigga's still like showing him in the studio kicking it with his friends. Like, he's not acknowledging. It doesn't seem like a nigga who's on a rollout. Like, yo, Thursday, I'm going to be on OVO Sound on Sirius XM. No, he ain't saying shit. He's just, okay, album coming. This don't seem like how Drake would like to roll out an album, if you ask me. Also, I still kind of feel like Drake wants to have these moments of the lead up. And right now, what's the lead up single for Drake's album? Granted, he doesn't need a lead single, right? You don't need a lead single at the moment, right? But the head of steam, pause, that he was headed into Scorpion with God's Plan, I think made for a different reception. You got to realize Drake is hit driven, while Kanye, there's probably gonna be some hit in this mix. There's a couple songs I kind of like that could be like kind of radio records and be like, oh, that's the hit. But like immediately, I don't look at Kanye like he about to have a hit. I look at him like he's about to have the body of work. But Drake also is moving in pop, like pop level. So like you have to have those records, right? It can't be like, oh, the album cuts are great, you know. So I just don't know if Drake personally is dropping. It doesn't seem like this rollout for him, unless you want to believe the conspiracy theories that says, well, him and Kanye been in cahoots this whole time and whatever. Like, no disrespect, but I don't think with or without the quote unquote beef with Kanye, the hype for Drake album would be any lesser anymore. He hasn't dropped a project in 3 years. Yes, he did drop the Dark Lane demo tapes, but we've been waiting for this next project, which ends up being Certified Lover Boy, and he's at a pretty pivotal part of his career. So I just feel like you don't go into it'll be 5 days till September 3rd, and you just go in there with one ESPN. Like, he's not even talking about it. You know what I mean? At all. Now, truth be told, I think he's going to clarify some shit now that Donda's out. And I think that's a dope move on that behalf of Kanye. Don't wait for Drake. Drake about to Drake trying to mind fuck Kanye so bad. Like, that's one of the things when people say, yo, Drake, Kanye is pressed. Man, I'm not saying Drake is pressed, but like, Drake is actively doing shit to rile up a nigga who doesn't know how to subliminally get at him the way he does. You know what I mean? It's like when Jay-Z used to sneak this a bunch of niggas, and niggas is making full-blown diss tracks at Jay-Z, and you know what all Jay-Z fans said? Jay ain't even talk about you. Like, you're obsessed. You're like, what the fuck? This thing been dissing me? Like, so again, I completely believe that they're playing these like mind games, and that's why I think maybe this might be a fox or a fake album release date, but it might be real. But I think now that Kanye's dropped, he'll probably unveil that, and I think Kanye did a smart thing by just dropping on your own time. Another thing is he dropped it 8 a.m. today, but we've known this for a while though, right? I actually thought for a little bit when he was going at Drake, maybe he want to get back in the numbers game. I don't think Kanye's been in the numbers game in a while. Like, I'm like, Kanye's a nigga who like he'll drop it like one day in a release window. Like, he don't care. Like, could Kanye do great numbers? Yes. Is he making albums to do great numbers with big singles and doing all the most that most rappers would do? No. He's doing it however he wants. And I think that's a pretty freeing experience. And that's why I'm also comparing him to Drake. It's a little bit freeing experience when, bro, like I see people say, yo, he's going to do 500K. Bro, if Kanye does 200K, what are you going to say about him? Like, nigga, he's a fucking billionaire who still, his influence is so bigger than even music at this point. What you going to say, he fell off? Bro, Kanye, yo, when he was supporting Trump, nobody thought he could command every single person in hip-hop and outside of hip-hop at his beck and call to fucking show up to 3 stadiums and just everybody, Donda. And shit, even if he spent a shit ton of money to make all that happen, everybody was acting like, oh, we're done with Kanye. Kanye at any point, he's done enough, he's earned enough, he has enough culture equity and enough creative equity that whenever he wants, he could get everybody to pay attention to him. Everybody. You get me? So if he wants to sell a lot of albums, like I've always said, if you really care to sell a lot of albums, who the fucking most influential person more than Ye? Just package it with a fucking sneaker or some shit. And this shit would have sold 10 million first week. Like, come on. Like, obviously I'm exaggerating, but still. I don't think Kanye's in that game. That's why he's dropping on a Sunday. I think also, I think he kind of sees that Drake probably going to do some funny shit with that release date. So he's like, fuck it, man. Let me just drop this shit. And I think now kind of seeing how everything went down, I think he did plan for the listening event at Chicago to be the finale. You know, it makes sense, right? It would be weird if he went to Minnesota like in 2 weeks, like, or like, hey, I'm going to Minnesota this Thursday. It would just look weird, right? Like, it would make sense for him to end it at home. So I'm glad that Kanye is doing that, and I'm happy with the album. I'm not mad at the album. Like, again, it just is what it is. Like, it just is what it is. Now, in terms of by the way, another thing, let me address this real quick. Let me turn this up. By the way, chat. If y'all don't know, I read all y'all messages. Even like when y'all DM me and stuff like that. My truck driver chat niggas told me, "Act, we in traffic. Shit be loud, and sometimes your mic is low, so turn your shit the fuck up." And they also told me stop being a bitch and have myself on mute. So I'm considerate if you're driving around, you know what I mean, doing your job, working your hard-earned money, and you listen to what I got to say. I definitely take your concerns into consideration. So I'm gonna start talking a little bit louder. Well, I'm gonna turn up my mic, so it's all good. Anyway, salute to all my truck drivers, man. But yeah, I like the project, man. I like the project. Now, I always say this with Ye, and I've said this about his last few albums. I don't think Ye cares to be in music constantly. The difference between Kanye, and of course I'm going to keep using Drake as an example. Kanye, and we could argue this clearly, but both at one point in their career was the top nigga in music, right? Drake currently is now. Like after 2010 going up to like 2014, 15, it was straight Kanye, right? I think Kanye looks at that, and I could be wrong, because that's why it also fucks me up when people say Kanye's jealous of Drake, because I don't think Kanye is trying to be like the number one guy. I'm going to tell you why. He would make more music. He would do more collabs. He would be present on the scene a lot more. He would just be a lot more, like Drake is present constantly. Remember, like some people still killing me for my take on Kendrick, but truth be told, like, I got to call Kendrick a retired MC. Like, he barely rap. He rap once every 5 years. Or like he drop a project once every 5 years. That don't seem like a nigga who's like active to me. Maybe he's active in y'all minds. Drake is fucking trying to drop something every couple of months. Yeah, he's constantly at it. I think Kanye, he knows he could drop whenever he wants, but I've always thought since Yeezus, since when he dropped Yeezus, I thought he gave up on wanting to be the number one rapper or the top rapper, or being this competition of who's the hottest at the moment or whose year it is or whose run it is. I think he was using his music to bulking up his influence and use that influence either to infiltrate fashion and do other things in his life. That's another reason why, I understand he wilds out with a genius tag a little bit, but like for all the music and cultural equity that Drake got, like he pretty much just keep that shit within music. Kanye has finessed this shit where that nigga came out making songs like Through the Wire, and now this nigga could do anything. Like it, like for a fucking second, at least maybe in hip hop, we thought maybe this motherfucker actually will run for president or something like that. Like he's used that influence from music and he's went so far with it. You get me? So after Yeezus, I don't think he was necessarily just sitting there like, how could I be the best rapper again? You get me? I think he's always dropped his music to set something up. For example, Yeezus was his cry, his plea. He said it on the Breakfast Club. Hey, I wouldn't make an album like Yeezus if that was my way to express myself while I was going through these, trials and tribulations in the fashion market. He came back around with The Life of Pablo. I thought The Life of Pablo was really for him to set up even some of the things he has now. I know he's on the board of Gap, right? Like he has a huge Gap deal. He's with Adidas, right? He figured out all that shit, and I think that's where The Life of Pablo came in. I think Jesus, what was the name of the gospel album? What's the name of the gospel album he dropped? Tell me. The gospel album, Jesus is King. I think that was really to set himself up for another phase in his life. I don't think it's necessarily just music. That's what I was trying to say. I think him doing the Ye album, the Ye 7-track EP, and then the Kid See Ghost with Kid Cudi. I think that was solely to set up what he wanted to do in terms of, kind of production wise and just kind of putting everybody on his label on. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of these good music people they kind of grown impatient. So I think he wanted to do that for them. But I think this release, as I said, I do think it's personal, but I'm trying to figure out what it's setting up to be. Because I don't think you're gonna see 5 more tracks next week with Baby and Kanye. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Kanye's chasing that shit at all. Like he made his mark. This is obviously the biggest moment in music this year, and now we're gonna see what he does next. So we're gonna like, to some extent, we're kind of all part of like the life of Kanye, right?